So one topic that I wanted to ask you about today is the length of the loan.
Oh, yes.
Traditionally, it was for 30 years, but there's been a lot of talk lately over a 15-year loan.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that, and how would that go?
Yeah, absolutely. So very good question. So if you can imagine borrowing this much money and you're paying back in this much time, right?
Okay.
And your payments are whatever they are. And then if someone said, hey, wait a minute, now you have to pay it back in this much time, obviously the payments are increased. So for a 15-year fixed mortgage, if you have the capacity to do it, as far as financially monthly, it's awesome because you chop off $1 zillion of interest on the back end because every payment, so much more is going to principal earlier on. Not everyone has that ability, especially with prices here in Chicago. You know, we're not talking about back in the day our parents were buying a $60,000 house, you know, or a $80,000 house. So if you were buying a $400,000 condo, for example, the payment difference between a 30 and a 15, it's a thing. It's a real dollar amount. So if someone maybe does not have the capacity to lock into a 15-year fixed mortgage, what I tell all of my clients is that we'll get you on the 30, okay? Which again, the payments are much more manageable. And then I can use math to say, hey, if you send an extra $114 a month, now your 30 is a 25.
Right.
Hey, okay, if you want to be more aggressive, not a problem.
So if you're not comfortable doing it right off the bat,
exactly,
you can extend that, and when you have better months, or you know,
yep.
Some people work on commission and have different employment structures. If you want to just add a little bit when you're comfortable, then it works out great.
That's exactly right. So at all of my closings, I will show them their 30-year payment, which we all know about. That's like the default. And then I'll say, if you pay X amount extra, you have a 25. This much a 20, this much a 15. I go, you can, at any point in time, it's a fixed schedule. So if you keep making that 15 payment, for example, and then, like you mentioned, a commission-based employment, then let's say 6 months later, maybe you had a down month, or maybe you had a big expense, like you had to get new tires on your car, or something unexpected. Then you have the luxury of scaling back to that 30-year payment that's lower, and then do that until you kind of, again, get over the expense that occurred, and then you can go right back to making the more aggressive payment.
Because, you know, people's incomes change. When you're buying a property for the very first time, you think, oh my gosh, how am I going to be able to afford this? How will I afford my payments each month? And then all of a sudden, you know, a raise comes, you know, a promotion comes, and they have some extra money. And so, you know, it's just being wise throughout the whole process, so then all of a sudden, you know, your home is paid off in 15 or 20 or even 25 years is better than 30.
5 years of interest is so much money. And it doesn't sound like a lot, and you don't kind of realize it until you sell down the road, but it just adds up, you know. I tell everybody, even if you just round your payment up to a whole number, if your payment's $1,890, just make it, you know, $2,000, right? Another $110. I know it's not a lot, but you know, little things here and there all of a sudden add up to a bunch of interest chopped off on the back end. So.